Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to PSGL PSF2, sponsored by GT Omega. And we are here tonight, of course, for round number 5 of the championship of the F2 season as we take in the Japanese Grand Prix from the Suzuka International Circuit. My name, as you can tell, is James Head. I'm going to be taking to the stream as normal. Unfortunately, technical hitches have forced Evan Dalton to go back into the background, but at least he's here. Good evening, Evan. How you doing?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I have no face camera today because for some reason it's just decided not to working. So it'll be a quick trip to Amazon.com for me. But we are here once again in Suzuka. Of course, we had a few technical difficulties last week in Mexico, but we still had an absolutely fantastic race. If you missed it, it was Ricky who took the win ahead of Tomasetto, Frankie, Nando, and Narwarp. Were your top 5, and it's opened up the championship a little bit more. But of course, we had the main man, Ray, who was promoted to F1. The championship we'll go through at a later point. But yeah, it's good to be back. It should be a great race around Suzuka. We haven't been here since season 29, and it will be an interesting one.
Yeah, I think there was a WR. I had a look at your commentary notes on Twitter a little bit early on, so I tried to steal this off. Dare I say, I think it was Gil and Riese who were second and third. I can't remember the winner, though.
It was Gil and Riese. It was Paxi who won back in season 29. He was promoted after his win in Japan. He got a podium in the round before it and then won in Japan and then was straight up to F1. Does that remind you of anybody here in F2? But it was an interesting race in season 29. I remember watching it. I think I can't remember who got Paul. I was going to say I think it was at Apple Gamer, but he might have been the season before. It could have been Balliner. It was an interesting race, nevertheless. But yes, James, robbing my commentary notes, but that's what we're here for. It's going to be an exciting race around Suzuka, folks. So let us know who you're going to predict to win. Of course, we are not quite there yet. We're still getting people into the lobby as we get the build-up rocking and rolling.
Yeah, definitely. So, what we can do, though, obviously, in the week's break that we've had, obviously, in terms of us streaming on PS4 instead of streaming through F2, is update you on the championship standings, of course. It is Ricky that leads the way. First win of the season. He damn well deserved it, I've got to say, as well. Last week, of course, Ray in second on 32 points. Has been promoted, of course, to F1. He finished 4th, of course, last week in F1. It was really good to see, of course, catching up after last week's race in F2. Frankie there in 3rd as well on 27 points. He had a very strong result, finished 3rd last week in Mexico. Tomasetto finished 2nd in Mexico last week, and he's in 4th on 23 points. Then Ron in 5th on 22. Arocca there in 6th on 20. Nicosos and Will Murdoch are tied on 12 points in 7th and 8th. Devon there in 9th and 11. And then Black Box ran off the top 10 on 9 points. And then we've got Nando Lukacar, Nuth Aries now up top 15. Stefano, Firefox, Axe, Alberto Vare, Jax top 20. And Jax has got a lag warning, of course, for intermittent internet, let's just say. Last week, of course, he lives in Australia, so I don't blame him for having a lag warning. Krypton and Lore as well, filling out the 22 drivers that have so far scored points this season. Dino, Jake Marsh, CC Brain, Matthias, Johan and Erpek, who is a brand new reserve, of course, to PSGL F2. Those are the driver standings coming through. And looking through those driver standings, Evan, I think we're going to get going very soon indeed in qualifying. Ricky out on top, 44 points, 12 points over Ray. Technically, though, he's got a 15-point advantage over Frankie. And this early in the season, that's quite a big gap to have.
15 points is a massive gap to have, as you can see if the picture is still on screen. It's only 16 points for a win here in PSGL, so the likely thing is even if he only gets a 10th place tonight, the championship will not be overturned. It's a large margin to have, but Ricky has been absolutely on form, taking all pole positions. He's scored a podium in every race so far in this season. Only the one win, but I'm sure he will not mind that too much. Of course, he took a 2nd in Austria, a 2nd in Belgium, and the win in Mexico. Slipped a little bit in Miami, but Miami was a messy one as we're loading into the lobby here in Suzuka. It's a 5.821 kilometre circuit with 18 corners. The only figure of 8 circuit on the Formula 1 calendar, and only one of a few in the entire world. Of course, you do have the famous 130R going over the track underneath it. Weather can definitely play a part in this one, though, because especially when Suzuka is held in real Formula 1, this monsoon season in Japan, or typhoon season, apologies, in Japan. They are the same thing, but it's different terms for different locations. So weather, we could be in for a bit of a shower, it could be heavy rain, it could be both. We'll have to wait and see as we're just getting ready to go in the lobby.
Yeah, definitely so. Indeed, of course, 18 turns awaiting these drivers out on track. Plenty of overtaking opportunities as well. I know into the hairpin has been a favoured one. We saw Jan Ortmu and Tomek Paracek, of course, going into the hairpin, making contact, and somebody was given a penalty out of that. And I'm sure PCF1 will bring you up to date. What I can report, though, out on track is beautiful blue swell. When I say beautiful blue skies, it is a little bit cloudy over the circuit, but it is blue skies and sunshine at least, and it is a dry qualifying session. Only 15 drivers, unfortunately, here tonight. Few of them on holiday. I know Will Murdoch was saying he was away tonight, and that is why he obviously can't make it into the race. Hopefully, though, he will be able to make it into the commentary, into the comment section, and obviously provide his outset into, hindsight, I should say, into what we should be seeing out on track here tonight. And with it being an 18-minute qualifying session as well, let me guarantee you nobody is going to be going on a set of intermediate compounded tyres, because that's just frankly stupid, given that it's an 18-minute qualifying session. Tomasetto, though, the man who finished in second last week in Mexico, is the first man out on track. Really came alive, I think, in Mexico last week. Obviously, with OP Ray now gone, the Italian now pretty much the lead Italian in F2 this season, Tomasetto, I think, has got a really good chance potentially to take this race win. What do you think of his opinions of his performance coming into tonight?
The performance coming into tonight was really impressive. It's not the side we have seen from Tomasetto. He's out on track now. He wants to get the lap in early. He wants to get the experience, but he's now lying very high up in the championship on what's been a fairly mediocre season so far. He's got 6 points in Austria, got 5 points in Belgium, and now, and of course, that podium in Mexico. But that podium in Mexico is going to give him a little bit of a confidence coming into Suzuka, and confidence around Suzuka is something you need. Of course, that S section can be absolutely treacherous if you're nervous going in there. You need to have full commitment, full trust in your car and your abilities if you want to get a good lap around this Suzuka circuit. But hopefully we can see Tomasetto keep up this form, because he's a great driver, a really great lad to have up there at the top. But it's going to be make or break, this one, for him. If he can get a good result here, this will really keep on his form for a possible title charge.
Yeah, definitely. So, looking at the comment section, by the way, Daniele Simonazzi has said, is he only showing his head because of its surname? Good joke, that one. Yes. Partly yes, and partly no, because Evan's camera is not working. That's why you only see me. And yes, my surname is Head. Nobody knew that. On the run down in towards turn 1, though, with Tomasetto back to the on-track action, and not Tomasetto now on the run down in towards the right-handers of turn 1 and turn 2, of course, where Senna and Prost in 1990 famously came together, and it happened immediately there, of course. Through the S section of turn number 3, through the S section of 4, and then through the centre S's again of 5, and then through the right-hander of turn number 6, and then in toward the Dunlop curve, of course, at turn number 7, before reaching the first of the Degner sections, of course. Degner 1 and Degner 2 about to come up to the driver's eye, and it's a 32.2 in the first second from Thomas. A bit of correction there in towards Degner 1, now out of Degner 2, and then in towards the Dunlop hairpin at the top of the hill, pretty much the highest point on the track as well at this stage, and we now see Tomasetto coming through the left-hander of the hairpin, now on the run down in towards turn number 13, of course, which is Spoon Curve, and that does catch quite a few people out, especially if you get caught in the inside curve, you run one wheel on the right-hand side of the track, it does cost you a bit of a spin coming through there, but take Spoon Curve very nicely indeed to Tomasetto on the exit now of Spoon Curve, and then on the run down, of course, into one of the fastest corners in the F1 calendar, pretty much mirroring Blanchimont, I think, in terms of the speed carried through here, and it is, of course, 130R, 112 flat in the middle sector from Tomasetto. It's not too bad at all in this middle sector. Now comes down into the Casio Triangle section, through 16, through 17, then, of course, the right-hander at turn 18, of course, no bump there on the inside these days. Tomasetto on the run to the line, and it's 28.6 to start off the night, and that is not a bad lap at all to start off your night.
Instantly beaten by Ricky with a 28.5, and James, you just fire up my microphone a little bit. I had a little listen on the stream. We're a little bit too low, but Nikosos goes to third for McLaren, Narwhal fourth for Williams. McLaren, historically the best team here around Suzuka. They have taken, I believe it is, yeah, it's 9 wins here in Suzuka. And of course, McLaren here in F2 on a brilliant run of form, ladies and gentlemen. Last season, they had no points scored by round number 5. They finished the season on 45. This season, they have 56 points by round number 5 and leading the Constructors' World Championship. CC Brain entering the final corner, turn number 18. It's a flat out run to the line, no bump on the inside there. He is going to stay 12th, 9/10 off the pole. Only 2 guys not put in a lap yet, and they're both on laps. Here comes Johan. He goes to 13th. I'm just waiting on a Rocca entering 1:30 the fast flick to the left. Of course, we all know that clip of Fernando Alonso making a move through there. Absolutely stunning place for an overtake. Very difficult, but very beautiful if you can nail it. Can a Rocca nail his lap? It's not looking like it's going to be a pole time or challenge for the pole. It's going to be a 29.1, and it's only going to be 10th place. 13 minutes left to go, and everyone with a lap on the board. That's something you don't see every day.
Yeah, definitely not, indeed. And of course, only 5 minutes gone in qualifying, potential for improvements as well, out on track as well. But it's Ricky out on top, Thomas Settle there in second, Nicole Sos there in third at this moment in time, and Ricky, of course, qualifying legend, I think, in F2 this season. Of course, he's taken every single pole position so far, and the McLaren once again top step the podium so far in terms of this qualifying session. Of course, it is only provisional at this stage, but still 12 minutes to go on the countdown clock. Nando was on a lap. He's back off, though, in the middle sector. 32.8, I think that was, in the middle sector. So Nando wasn't looking too bad in the first sector. He has, as I say, back up in the middle sector. Maybe going for another lap. In fact, I think he's run out of fuel, has the Alpine man. Axel as well doing the same. He's going to come in the pit lane as well. Frankie there in 7th. Nobody, I don't think, is on a lap in terms of improvements. That means you're going to get a little bit of waffling from us while we go through, of course, the grid at this time. It is Ricky out on top, Thomas Settle there in 2nd, Nicole Sos there in 3rd, Nando in 4th, and then it's Axel Firefox, Frankie Blackbox, Nuth, and a rock around off the top 10. Krypton, now up, Ron, Johan, and CC Brain ran off the top 15. As always, by the way, guys, let me know in the comment section if the audio is a little bit too low. As Evan has pointed out, I have turned it up slightly, so hopefully that is the mirroring effect of the audio. Hopefully it's not OBS related, otherwise it's pretty much out of my control at this stage, so you'll only have to put up with the sound as we are at this stage. Rocking the final one to come back in the pit lane. But that's the end of the first runs. Ricky, Tomasetto, and Nicole Sos currently a top 3.
And just something I've noticed here, James, look at those clouds developing over the pit lane. Everybody going almost instantly back out. We could be seeing a little bit of weather play a part in this qualifying session. It's so unusual to see everybody getting a lap on the board. And normally, the field spread is not this large between the top 15. So it could have been a case of, let's get the lap in, let's get the heads down, just get a lap on the board. Because there are dark clouds over the top, and it was not this dark entering qualifying. Now, I know Codemasters don't provide the most realistic weather conditions in the world, but they certainly can provide some form of realism. And realism, of course, is dark clouds normally mean rain. Everyone is almost straight out of the pits, which would make me think we are going to get a weather factor into this qualifying. But we're just going to have to wait and see. Of course, this could really be a game of chess of, do you go out instantly for a lap, or do you wait for some good track conditions? But Tomasetto is the leader once again. He was the first man into the pits. He's the first man back out of it once again for his second run. Currently second here in Suzuka, and not doing too bad.
Yeah, not doing too bad at all. Ricky is one on the first out as well on track. He's around 3rd, I think, on track in terms of the outlaps. I think Krypton might be ahead of him out on track at this stage. So we're going forward with Tomasetto. 8 minutes gone in qualifying. You haven't really missed much if you've just tuned out for a second there. Ricky out on top, Tomasetto in 2nd, Nicole Sos there in 3rd. We'll run above with Tomasetto. I'm going to be very, very coy and say that not many of these drivers are going to try and improve on their lap times, one would imagine. Turn off the timing toe on the left-hand side just so you get a clear view of the track. And on the run down now in towards turn 1, once again with Tomasetto. Anybody in the comment section saying as well that we might be biased towards him? No, that is not the case. He's just the first man out on track, and that's who we're going on board with. Now coming through the right-handers again at turn 1 and 2, and then through the centre S section of turns 3, 4, 5 and 6. And look at this, honestly, in terms of the cloud cover, I think you're right, Evan. The rain is going to be coming very soon indeed in the session. I was thinking around the 5-minute mark. It might be not too far off that in terms of where the rain might fall. But Tomasetto now coming through the Dunlop curve on through towards the Deckners. And he's looking actually a little bit quicker in this first sector. 32.2, remember, 1700s down in the first sector. Much better through the Deckners this time. Through Deckner 1, Deckner 2, and then on the run up in towards the hairpin once again. And the cloud cover really changing, giving my CPU a little bit of extra work as well on OBS. Tomasetto now through the hairpin. Sun still blazing through the clouds though, so maybe it is just going to come over a bit cloudy rather than raining at this stage. And Tomasetto on the run now down in towards Spoon Curve. And it's not looked too bad. He's taking very high 7th gear though in towards Spoon Curve. 185 mile an hour carried on exit, of course, on entry into the corner out of Spoon Curve. be carrying about 140 miles an hour on the exits. Now Tomasetto runs up the hill once again in towards 130 yards. Looks like a competitive lap so far. Sub 112 in the middle sector, and he's 800ths up in terms of his lap times. Now comes in toward the Casio Triangle once again. Ricky, I believe, is on a lap as well. He's coming down in toward 130 yard, the current leader in this qualifying session. But Tomasetto round the final corner on the run to the line, and he goes second still. 900ths of a second improvement, pretty much a 10th actually. Tomasetto there, and Ricky, you weren't saying is improving by 400ths.
About 400s. He's got a good run to the Casio Triangle. Could be more. No, he's lost a bit of time there, so that's not good for Ricky. It's an improvement, but it's not as much as he'd like. His teammate Nikosos has had a massive snap out of turn number 18, and he's lost all time that he gained. Nando on a bit of a run here. Firefox is invalidated. Axe is down as well. There's a lot of guys making mistakes. Frankie is going to finish his lap here, but I don't think it's anything worth of notice. He's entering the Casio Triangle. 24, 25, it's got to gain a bit of time there. Here comes Frankie to the line. Can he go? He does. He goes to fourth. Great lap for the Alfa Romeo. It was not looking too good, and it's got really, really dark here all of a sudden in Suzuka. We are saying weather could play a part. Araka is improving by about a 10th and a half as well. No major improvements around the field. Nikosos still pushing. Newt has gone to second here for Alpine. It's a brilliant lap by Newt. He's just about beaten Tomasetto. He improved by 6/10 of a second to take it 28.5. There's people pushing for 2 laps. Araka is now 4/10 up. This could be an absolute belter of a lap as he's entering in towards the very famous Casio Triangle. Right, then a left. Get the power down. You want to take a little bit of the curb on the exit. He avoids it, but that could be due to some slippier conditions. Here comes Araka. Goes to 6th. He did actually lose a bit of time on that lap. He was slightly more up. Ron is on another go here as he's entering in towards the Degners.
Yeah, he is. He's actually backed off his lap coming through the first sector. I think you might have saw the 3/10 improvement. Now up is on a lap, I believe, coming up the hill and towards 130. I think he's the only one that could potentially find an improvement. Out on track there as well.
Johan's improving as well a little bit, I feel.
Yep,
no, he's backed off. He's backed off through turn number 8. And this seems to be the thing. They seem to be making the mistakes through turn number 8. We'll keep an eye on Araka. What can he do? Can he improve any more? No, he's backed off this one long time ago. Now up into the pits. Black Box is done on his lap. Johan's done on his lap. Krypton is only on an out lap, and so is Firefox. So they're going to be the next 2 to set qualifying times, but everyone else piling straight into the pits, and it's getting very dull here, but we might just have time for a few more qualifying laps as Krypton building up for his lap. He's exiting Spoon Curve.
Yeah, do you think, actually, I'll ask you a question now. Krypton 29.2, do you think he'll actually improve on that lap? Because obviously the cloud cover now is built over the circuit, therefore these tyres won't be performing as what they were at the start of the session.
I think Krypton will improve, because I don't think that's an accurate lap. I was having a look at time trial times before. Totally accidental, and Krypton was top of my friends list, and there's some big names on that, so he has a bit more pace. Exiting turn 18, let's stick with Krypton on this lap. There's nobody else really on a big lap as he's heading down this straight, entering turn number 1. It's a 994 longest flat out section. It's the back straight heading into 130R, entering 2 and into the S section. 6th gear through here. You want to take a little bit of grass on entry and just flick the car in. Let's keep a look at Krypton's gear ratio. A lot of people would use 5th through this, but something I've noticed is Krypton always goes one higher than everyone. Turn 8, he's at 6th gear through here. Just hope and pray that the car sticks into there. Entering the Degners, named after a famous motorcycle rider. We'll get into that more later on. About 2/10 of a second up. Krypton is finding time as he's short shifting up in towards the no-named hairpin, downshifting there to get the car hooked in. Really tricky traction section there, but he's exiting at about 160 kilometers an hour and now short shifting up. This is not a bad run from Krypton as we'll see what gear he takes. Spoon Curve. We've seen some high gears from Tomasetto. We see high gears from Krypton as well, and there's a droplet of rain. There is the drops of rain. This is it for Krypton. He's not going to get another bite of the cherry as he's entering down the longest flat-out section. About 48 gear changes on average on this lap of Suzuka. It's an absolute mighty run from Krypton so far. He's 5/10 of a second up. This could be a huge improvement if he can just nail the Casio Triangle. Let's see, downshifting to 4th, takes a little bit on the inside, takes a lot there on that inside, doesn't touch the curb, get the throttle down, rain droplets falling in Suzuka. Will Krypton go to the top?
Wow.
No, he's lost time in the last sector, and it will only be 8th position for Krypton. But look at the guys all pushing on outlaps, just trying to get around in time. There's a few more people improving. CC Brain has made a mistake somewhere through that sector, it feels. Here comes Firefox, 2/10 of a second up. He goes to 5th. Not a bad lap from Firefox. Slots in just behind Frankie. Axe is slightly improving, but very, very slightly.
CC Brain as well is on a lap. He's 200th up on that lap. Axe, I think, is furthest on, though. He's coming through Spoon Curve. CC Brain as well is actually just in front. They're both pretty much together out on track. So CC Brain up the hill in towards 130 off across the Philatus out section on this track. And it's a 112.5 in the middle sector.
Now in sector 1.
Yeah, it's really raining, I think, in the middle sector and through the final sector as well, in towards 130R. The rain beginning to affect the track conditions. CC Brain locks up slightly in towards the chicane now, coming through the final couple of corners. The German on the run towards the line. Let's see what the former TCG man can do. He stays 15th and only improves 6/10 of a six-thousandth of a second even. Actually, I don't think even improved on his lap time there as well. And I have a feeling, to be honest, and I'm just going to say this now, that might be the end of qualifying well and truly. Nikolsos
it's going to be It's going to be difficult for drivers to improve here. There's a lot of people pushing. Newt is on course for a personal best qualifying result, and he's about 2/10 down in the first sector. And Tomasetto is on a run into 130R, but again, he's miles down on his time, and I think this could be the end of qualifying here. I cannot really see anyone producing anything special. I'm well up for being shocked or well up for being proven wrong. Nando he's matched his personal best first sector, so if there's a bit of time in the middle, he might improve. But the rain is really starting to fall now over Suzuka, over one of many Japanese Formula 1 circuits. You see Nando as he exits the hairpin. Yeah, you can just see the rain is starting to affect. The track is cooler even, and the tyres are not working too well.
Yeah, I'm on board with Nikolsos. He's 2.5 down in the middle sector. He was up in the first sector slightly. And Nikolsos, yeah, he's back in the pit lane. That might be him done out of this session as well. But it's only a minute and 50 to go. The rain's only going to get a little bit heavier out on track. Drivers may as well go out on inters if they so want to, if obviously the drives are not going to be happening in the race. But it's Ricky out on top, Nuth there in second, Thomas Settle in third. Everyone's pretty much down. And Rocker's 500's down on the first sector. Let's keep an eye on him on the run up the hill in towards the hairpin.
Slightly up, but he's made a mistake there through turn 8. It looked like he was slightly up anyway. He was taking a good first sector, but yeah, it's just getting treacherous out here. There's not going to be many improvements. The drivers are still going to try find one. That's for absolutely certain. But they're still going to try find one, but they're not going to find one is the issue, because the track is just going to get worse and worse. And really, Krypton probably was the limit of finding an improvement, because the rain was only starting to fall. He wasn't affected by it too much. We'll see how Rocket is in the middle sector. Now he's down by about a 10.5 as well, and that's going to be qualifying done here, folks.
Yeah, I'm going to keep on board them. You might still improve through the final couple of corners through the Casio Triangle on board with the Rocker. As soon as I say that, though, he invalidates going to the Casio Triangle. Absolutely typical. He's in the pit lane. Now is going to be coming back in the pit lane as well. He's well down on lap time. I think that is the end of qualifying. A minute early in finishing, but it is Ricky out on top. Nuth there in second. Tomasetto there in third. The king of qualifying strikes again.
Hole number 5 in PSGL F2 this season. 5 rounds, 5 poles for Shizu Ricky. Unbelievable. That's difficult to do. That is really difficult to do. But was Newt or Tomasetto or Frankie even denied a proper chance at pole? Well, we'll never know, but could they bring it back in the race is what we will have to see. We're going to see a lot of the drivers retiring to hopefully get us underway even quicker. But Ricky, once again, with a smashing pole lap. And well, can he bring the race pace over like he has every week? It's going to be tricky to do, because Suzuka in the race and Suzuka in qualifying is two completely different things. But that is qualifying, ladies and gentlemen.
It is indeed, and it is Shizu Ricky out on top. In the end, though, top 3, only covered by 64 of a second. Not a bad qualifying session at all. Ricky out on top, Nuth there in second, Thomas Settle there in third, Frankie in fourth, Firefox in fifth, Nikolsos there in sixth, just under 0.2 per second covering the top 6. Then you've got Rocket in seventh, Nando in eighth, Krypton in ninth, Axay there in 10th, and it's now Ron Blackbox, who all got in within 5/10 of a second in the top 13. Johan 14. CC Brain, I don't think you've got a competitive lap time down on the board, 29.4. He's down 9/10 away. Of course, remember, there's no formation up, I believe, once again here tonight, so therefore, we are going to take a quick intermission break of 30 seconds. Yeah, it might have changed in the patch update. I'm just going to... We'll see in about 30 seconds.
No, it's
anyways.
turned off. It's turned off.
It's turned off. It's turned off. Yeah. It's fine. Right, anyways, we're going for an intermission break. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Welcome back, everyone, to PSGL. We are back here, of course, for PSF2, and we are in blazing blue sky and sunshine here tonight in Japan, with 20 seconds to go until the race starts. I'm going to push you immediately, Evan. Who's your top three?
Ricky Tomasetto and Frankie. Simple as
no,
that.
But you have to think about that a lot, I think, there.
Well, there's a three who are on form and qualifying. Newt, I don't think will be able to take a podium today, but well, I'm happy to be proven wrong. Here we go.
Here we go. 5 lights coming out here in Japan. It is round 5 of the championship in PSF2, and it is light 10. Away we go. And Ricky gets a very good start. Newt sleeps off the start slightly. Tomasetto side by side with Frankie on the run down in towards turn number 1. 400-metre run down in towards turn number 1. Ricky leads. Newt there in second. Frankie there in third. Tomasetto going around the outside. All on a set of hard compounded tyres in the foreground of shot. In fact, all the field on a set of hard compounded tyres early on, and everyone's fleeing through the S section safely with now up and Nando going side by side. The two, the Williams and the Alpine going side by side now through the centre S's, through 5, through 6, and then on the inside there is Krypton trying to get on the inside into the Dunlop curve. Doesn't quite get close enough, but up front Ricky gets the lead. Newt there in second, Frankie in third, Tomasetto in fourth, and that is what we like to see. An absolute clean start from everyone throughout the field. Very good stuff indeed.
Excellent start by a lot of guys there. There was no contact made throughout the field, which is really impressive for this game, because the tyres are oh so cold. When you start, Krypton has sent one on Axa up the inside. Great move by the Red Bull. That's what we love to see. Almost everybody, actually everybody is on the hard compound tyres. It'll be an even strategy game here. We'll have to wait and see, do people go for undercuts or overcuts, or what the story with that is. But there's a lot of scrapping here. There's a lot of cars in a straight line, but Ricky's got clean off the line. Newt as well had a bit of a slower start, but he's held second position on this opening lap. Heading into 130R for the first time, we'll see the cars flying through this section. It's a really quick left-hander. Bit of a mistake from Morocco. He's ran off there, and it's going to absolutely invite Nando up the inside. He broke exceptionally late as well, just to make sure the move was done, but Nando up to 7th. He's a quick mover as Nando. He loves an overtake, and he's got one down already.
Yeah, now up on the back of a rocker as well. Actually just been overtaken by Blackbox. I think he might have got caught on the inside curve through the final corner. There,
down the inside of Blackbox here. Oh, Blackbox just holds around the outside. Good racing from the Alfa Romeo, and he's now right on the back of the Red Bull. That's really the nature of turn 1. It's a really late braking zone, and then of course turn 2 instantly comes up. You're almost lifting through turn 2 instead of braking. It's a very quick right-hander.
It is indeed. Now up on the back of a rocker. Obviously a rocker through and into 8th. Now up was obviously pressuring for that position. Predicted pit stop strategy. It says 1-stop strategy. Lap 12 to 15. I think these cars potentially can get a lot further than what has actually been set there on the graphics. Down to Colsos on the back of Firefox is going to try and go for that move into the hairpin, but he's just waiting behind for now. He's within 0.2 per second, and actually becoming a cork in the bottle at this point, because Firefox has just lost 2.5 per second just off the hairpin on the run down in towards Spoon Curve. And Colsos there in 6th position. He is going to be left behind if he's not too careful, because Firefox looks, I think, slow out of the top 5.
And Firefox is holding up the Colsos a little bit. Of course, it's a bit early to tell, but battery absolutely even between the pair. Firefox burning a bit just to catch back up to Tomasetto, so Firefox feels he does have a bit of pace in this Grand Prix so far. Of course, only the second lap, still a lot to happen, but Newt's pressuring Ricky here. Newt, he's made a bit of a mistake for the Casio triangle just as I opened my big mouth, and now he's fallen off the back of Ricky. But Ricky was under a bit of pressure into the triangle there. He's come off the better of the pair though. Tomasetto though, he's trying to capitalise on this poor pace possibly by Firefox, bolting away, burning some battery to try and get Firefox out of a second, heading on to lap number 4, but we're on 3 here, and Nikosos is all over the back of the Aston Martin.
Yeah, he is indeed. Ricky, though, leading the way. Nutha in second. Nutha has been coming under pressure, obviously, from Frankie in behind. Nutha obviously made a mistake as well into the Casio triangle, and therefore, obviously, Nuth is beginning to lose a little bit of time to Ricky, who just starts to seek his dominance early on in this race. I mean, only on lap 3, the DRS, of course, has been enabled this time around. Only the one DRS zone as well around this track, and that is, of course, down the start-finish straight, where a majority of the overtaking might happen. Now, on the back of a rocker in the meantime, into the hairpin. Don't think he's going to go for an absolute late lunge like Opmia did on Paradchik, of course, on Wednesday night in Japan. But now on the back of a rocker, and a rocker now becoming the cork in the bottle. He's 7/10 off behind Nando. Nando doing a good job in terms of his pace so far. I saw a few guys in the comment section there as well supporting Nando as well, and maybe he might get a bit of hot chili down him in terms of his performance here tonight, because he looks on fire.
Not going to even reply to that, as Tomasetto is on the back of Frankie, and Nando with this hot chili or whatever James is on about, pressuring Nikosos into the Casio triangle. No big movers really on the opening few laps, only 2 spots gained from Narrow and Black Box were your 2 largest movers on the first 4 laps, but other than that, nobody really taking advantage. Of course, it's a tight circuit here, is Suzuka. There's very few overtaking opportunities. One is into that no-named hairpin of turn number 11. Of course, we've seen Opmir go for a bit of a send. We've no Opmirs on the grid here, but maybe one of them can chuck one up the inside. I'd personally love to see it. I love an old risky dive bomb here or there, but for right now, we're all keeping in unison. Nobody really breaking the DRS gap, as every single car on the grid does have DRS, but it's looking like Araka might be the first to not get it as he is falling. He is falling to the extreme pace of Nando.
Yeah, Nando and Nikosos are really getting on with things. In behind Firefox. Again, Firefox is looking a bit slow out on track at this moment in time. Might be because, of course, his hard is still coming online in terms of the tyre temps, in terms of the tyre degradation, of course, later on in this race as well. Nuth, though, has lost another 0.3 of a second to Ricky. Ricky is burning that battery quite a lot in terms of his performance so far. 65% for him, along with Nuth, who's also on 65%. So they're both around the same level. Frankie there in third, Tomasetto there in fourth. Look at Nando, though, on the back of the Nikosos, and now the FMD driver is going to come under pressure from the TRD man, potentially, on the run-up in towards 130 yards. Nikosos also catching the OP man of Firefox, and do you know what? He might send a late lunge in towards the Casio triangle here. Certainly setting up to try and do so. Nando right on the back as well. Nearly too wide into the Casio triangle, though everyone, though, obviously not being like Evan Dalton and F11 trying to go for dive bomb into the Casio triangle. Nando back still in 7th position as he's still pressurising Nikosos down in towards turn 1, but again with the battery burning, don't think anybody's going to go for a lunch here. Nando pulls on the inside line. However, now up in behind, comes out of nowhere on a rocker. Oh, and actually spins on the outside curve. Now up, and just about gains that position back. So now up there in 8th, a rocker there in 9th, and a rocker must have had either some sort of mistake, or now up, obviously, just had too much speed down the straight.
Narwhal, well, he's in the right country if he wanted to make drifts like that. Unbelievable save, and to keep the position. I didn't realise you caught my bad dive bomb into the Casio triangle, but my one into the hairpin was absolutely beautiful. I hope you saw that one. But yeah, Nando was looking on the back of Nikosos, and it's not in a McLaren's nature not to dive into the Casio triangle, so the bosses will be pretty unhappy. But Nikosos, the more mature driver, he's just waiting for the perfect opportunity, and that's what you have to do around this Suzuka circuit. It's been a fairly action-packed opening few laps, but the gap up the front, Ricky is just starting to stretch his legs here on the Alpine and Youth, and there we go, out of a second. This could be a crucial point in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, Newton's got to use up that battery now to really good effect. He's still basically on the cold tail of that second. The DRS detection zone, obviously, is at the Casio triangle, so here we are. Newt is outside of a second, passing the DRS section zone, and that means now Frankie will try and get him maybe down the straight. He's 9/10 away himself And Frankie again slipping out of a second of Nuth, and that is now becoming a real problem further down the field. Further down the field on the Colsos, on the back of Firefox, and this is going to be very simple if he wants to go for the move in the Colsos. On the back of Firefox, down towards turn number 1, have to do it the hard way around the outside of turn number 1. Firefox goes too deep. Beautiful switch back by the Colsos. He is through and he's into 5th. And I think Krypton as well got the move done on a rocker further down the field, so he's through and he's into 9th. But that was a switch back to perfection from the Colsos, through and he's into 5th.
Oh, that's sublime. That's an unbelievable overtake by Nicosos. He has sent Firefox to the shops there. Firefox defends the inside, breaks later, runs wide. Nicosos chucks it up the inside. That's just a perfect overtake. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. He set it up, the execution perfect, and the McLaren is now up to 5th around the track. McLaren love, and Frankie has caught back up to Nuth. He's burned a bit of his ERS there to get up to the Alpine, and he's sizing up a move. He's teeing up an opportunity here, possibly. Still 6 tenths back, which is a large margin around Suzuka. But Firefox here, we said he possibly didn't have pace for top 5. He's struggling, and he's about to fall to Nando, who could set up another move on him, which wouldn't be good for Firefox. Narwarp up 3 spots to 8th is your largest mover so far, as Krypton is still in 9th. Started 9th. He did drop at the start, but he's back up there now.
He is indeed. Firefox, though, under pressure from Nando, and not going to speed, and Nando in toward the Casio Triangle. This one might even be done coming through here.
Oh, here we go.
Into the Casio Triangle, side by side. Nando doesn't want for the move, though. Firefox, I think, is just outside of DRS range as well. Maybe on the coal source. I'm not sure if he did get DRS. Indeed, he did. So Nando is going to have to use up that straight line speed. And look at the speed. A rocket ship out of Mars. Nando through, and he's into 6th. Black Box as well, side by side with the rocker. In the background, a shot in towards turn number 1, and Black Box is through, and he's into 10th as well. Beautiful move. Nando, honestly, shot out of a cannon. Through and he's into 6th.
Nando has been going the bad boy of this year. He loves the unconventional overtakes. I know that one was fairly simple, but that move around the outside of the Casio Triangle, you're just asking to be put into the gravel there or the runoff. But he's got it done. I don't know where the straight line speed is coming from, because he's absolutely unbelievable through the corners. And then that was like a rocket ship. I know it's a Fernando Alonso quote, the rocket ship, and obviously Nando is named after him, but unbelievable stuff by the Alpine. He's got it done. He's up to 6th, and now he's hunting down Nicosos. That helped Nicosos. That's a little bit of a battle into the Casio Triangle, because now he's a 1.2 second margin gap up the front. This is becoming Ricky's race. It's becoming Ricky's race, absolutely, because there's a 1.7 second margin up the top, and Nuth is going to struggle to close that. He's going to need some of Nando's straight line speed in the other Alpine if he wants to make the move stick, and even Frankie's not catching him, so it's not necessarily Nuth's pace that's causing that gap. It's just Ricky who's causing the gap. He's an unbelievable driver, and he's really proving it.
Yeah, definitely so. Nuth obviously in 2nd position. He doesn't look like he's struggling for pace. He's only losing 2 or 3 tenths here and there per lap. And Frankie, to be honest, is losing 2 or 3 tenths the same as well. So I'd say they're pretty much now nullifying each other down the straight. Now, by the way, down the straight, he's on the back of Firefox. Do you know what? This is going to be absolutely simple. Down the inside line, goes now up. Through goes the QRT man on the OP man. And he's through and he's into 7th, and Axe as well. Through and he's into 11th as well. A Rocker there down into 12th position. Now, Rocker did start off the race quite strong in terms of his opening laps. However, though, the hards might be coming back to bite him. Obviously, might be looking for an early pit stop on just a medium compound tyres. Somewhere around this track, I think mediums can last around 17 or 18 laps. Certainly in the last game they did. This is my first commentary, however.
No chance in this one.
No chance?
No chance on this one. All tyres fall off really quickly here. The softs can only do about 6 laps in the push. Well, or what I found anyways. That was a strategical swap by the Hasses. Araka lifted on the entrance into the corner to let Axie dive down the inside, because they feel Axie has the better pace here. He's had the better results over the course of a season as well. So looking from a championship point of view, it's not a bad shout by the two Hasses, as Johan on debut is all over the back of CC Brain here. The two guys, the German and the new AlphaTauri driver, is all over the back of him. Of course, it used to be Japanese engines in the back of that AlphaTauri Honda, which the track was built by. This is a Honda circuit. It was built in 1962. First race didn't happen until 1987, and Nigel Mansell lost his title there. So for all the British fans watching, I do apologise, but an unnamed Brazilian, we'll say, ended up taking the title off him. Although Ron looking all over the back of Araka now, so Araka's struggling here, as you said, James. Could be tyre related, could be pace related, as only time will tell.
Yeah, it could be a bit of both, and look at Ron on the back once again, and like a rocket ship out of Mars once again, Ron's going to go through on a rocket surely down towards turn number 1. A rocket backs off, he knows he hasn't got the pace, I think, tonight, Ron through, and he's into 12th position. Johan as well on the back of CC Brain, battling out for the proverbial wooden spoon at this stage, in 14th and 15th position, and the AlphaTauri, of course, and the Mercedes. Has got a little bit of pace now, CC Brain, he's latching onto the back of a rocker. A rocker's now going to come back, obviously, into their clutches, and therefore Johan has possibly got a chance of overtaking both of them in the next few laps or so out on track. But Ricky leads the way. It's 2 seconds the gap. He's not really pulling a big advantage over Nuth, to be honest. As I say, it's only 2 or 3 tenths per lap he's actually pulling out. Nuth there in second, holding his own pace at this moment in time. In terms of his battery as well, he's got slightly less battery than Ricky, about 6% ERS difference in between Ricky and Nuth. Frankie there in third has got 52%, and Thomas on fourth's got 35%. So everyone pretty much nullifying each other out down the straight run in towards 130R there. But Ricky leads the way, Nuth in second, Frankie in third. Again, back on the board with a battle for 14th. CC Brain and Johan right down the back of the field are about to have a battle, I think, because Johan looks like he's got the pace.
That's using his battery. Araka is a goner. CC Brain has 63%. Araka has 6%. So Araka is he's on thin ice at the moment. He's had a bit of a run out of spoon curve there to just give him the legs over CC Brain and Johan. But yeah, this is really for the wooden spoon. These 3 guys just don't have the pace of the front runners today, especially Araka, who's been quite disappointing. He had a good qualifying, but the pace has not been there in the race. And having a low battery around Suzuka doesn't help, because it's only going to get lower. As here we go, could CC Brain try and move in towards turn number 1? It'll be a late lunge of anything. No, backs off here, and the experienced German is not going to do anything too drastic. Just cut to the front quickly here, James, because Frankie's all over the back of Newt. Something's happened here with Newt. There is a 3.3 second gap, and Frankie is all over the back of the Alpine.
Yeah, I think he made a mistake through the centre S section, if I'm not mistaken. He was dropping outside of around 2.5 seconds as well on the run down. So Nuth definitely having a few walls out on track. Frankie right on the back of him, and that's Tomasetto and the Colsas and Nando into play as well. So watch out for this, because the Alpine either has just gone suddenly off the cliff in terms of his performance, in terms of his tyres, or he just simply does not have the pace, or he made a mistake, and I probably think it's the latter rather than the former there. Ricky now 3.5 seconds clear, may as well promote him up to F1, I think, tonight, to be honest. The performance he's putting in so far, doing a really good job. The last man I've called that promote to OP up to F1 was OP Ray, and look what happened to him last week. He finished 4th, so Ricky can follow in his footsteps, as now Frankie trying to waltz on the back of Nuth, maybe down for the straight, down and towards turn 1. I think this is move on here.
Yeah, and so Newt, whatever's happened in through the first couple of corners, it's really hampered his progress in this race. He's still been third. It's not a bad result for Alpine, but a bit of a wobble there from Frankie. This could just be the mistake Newt needed. Gaining and gaining and gaining is the alpha male. No way close enough here. That's just that little wobble out of turn 18 is what helped Newt, but he runs a bit wide. It's a late send. Oh, by Frankie. Very opportunistic there, but it did not work, and the Alpine's going to stay ahead.
Yeah, Nuth actually locked up, I think, in towards turn number 2 through the right-hander. CC Brain and Rockers going side by side as well. Pretty much through, and they make contact. Oh, and Johan has to take a board in action on a Rocker rejoining the track as well. So CC Brain and your Rocker making a little bit of contact. Didn't quite catch the end, only caught the end of that, to be honest. And CC Brain and a Rocker, I think, were side by side through turn number 2, and you don't go side by side through there. Otherwise, you end up coming onto each other, and that's exactly what happened there. But yeah, Nuth in second position, Frankie there in third. Obviously, Frankie has got the pace over Nuth. He was not close enough last time around. However, though, he has to be close enough this time around, surely, to try and get the move, because look at the gap. Hemorrhaging time at this stage, Nuth over Ricky. Even though I only said a couple of laps ago it was 2-3 tenths he was losing, Frankie on the back of Nuth. TF man needs to get this job done, I think, just to preserve himself, because otherwise he's got a flying Tomasetto right on his rear wing.
Yeah, Tomasetto and Nicosas, this has awakened them. It's awakened the Williams. And Frankie, he's losing time down this straight, or as it looks like from a visual perspective, in towards 130R. He needs to pile on this Alfa Romeo. Brakes into here. Brakes later of the 2. Gets the car turned in nicely. This could be opportunity. This could be D-Day for Newt. He may fall off the podium fairly soon, because if 1 goes past him, 2 might just. But no, look at Newt down the straight. He just has enough in that Alpine, and no move from Frankie here, no move from anybody here, and that's going to hold these guys up even more, because where Frankie is quicker than Newt, it's the corners where you can't quite overtake. There's a move at the back here, and Johan is past them both. He's up to 13th. It makes it an AlphaTauri 12-13, and CC Brain remains 14th, but Araka has fallen to them both. He is now the man picking up Suzuka's wooden spoon.
Yeah, Tom's saying, by the way, that there's some naughty quality on Evan's mic. Yeah, I agree. It's a very good mic, I say. Evan's better than mine. Yeah, better than mine in the Turtle Beach headset that I've got on at this stage. But yeah, as you mentioned, Johan Thuney's into 13th, CC Brain in 14th, Araka there down in 15th. Araka has really, absolutely shot his bolt, I think, in terms of his pace. Here tonight, he needs, I think, a bit of a miracle out on track. But look, 4 seconds over the gap for the lead. Ricky Knuth. Knuth is struggling. But it just seems like he's prioritising, I think, straight line speed over corners. Because look through the corners, look at Spoon Curve. Runs wide there. Frankie gains time, but then on the exit, Knuth gains time once again. Not that time around. On the exit, though, on the throttle, actually gains a bit of time there. Gained a 10th of a second. And Frankie there in third has got to do all the hard work, basically waste up his battery once again. Not wasting his battery, and Knuth is now trying to escape.
I mean, he's sacrificing corner speed for straight line speed, but it's working, isn't it? He's in second place here, and he's actually gained time on Frankie, so whatever Knuth is doing, it is absolutely working, because Frankie now is under pressure from Tomasetto. Really, I thought Tomasetto was a lot closer. They're really all kind of separating. Here comes Firefox, though. He's going past Narwhal in towards turn number 1, and can you get an easier move? That was really, really simple. Of course, we've seen Firefox lose the spot to the Kosas into 1. He gets past Narwhal into 1 to 7th place for the Aston Martin, but still, he qualified 5th. He wants 2 more spots to get back to where he started.
He does indeed, but that move was out the James Head handbook, I've got to say, so you can copy that one at home if you will. Firefox there through, and he's into 7th. Now up there in 8th, Krypton there in 9th. Just made that one up, to be honest. I don't really overtake around Japan anyway.
We couldn't tell.
Exactly, you need to get me out on track just to prove it. Ricky out on top, Knuth in 2nd, Frankie in 3rd. Unbelievably, though, we are halfway through pretty much this race now, and has absolutely flown on by. Not really much in terms of the overtaking now. Obviously, drivers are getting settled into their strategy. However, though, Firefox has spun at the hairpin,
round. And he's reversed back into the barrier, and he's going to get a 360 turn on it, and he's back round, but he's in 15th place, and I was going to say, should somebody maybe try a bit of an undercut here, and I think we might have our candidate. He is he's miles off the pack now, and it's the first man really to make a big mistake in this race. Not out of the race, and he does have front wing damage, so he has collided with a wall, and bye-bye Firefox's chance of points today, I feel, because no one is really making that big of an error.
Yeah, unfortunate for Firefox. I think he's just caught on the outside curb. He's obviously rotated the car around. He's put too much throttle, basically, on. Krypton, however, is into the pit lane. Yeah, I'm on board with him. Coming into the pit lane. Oh, and he speeds into the pit lane. 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. You've got to get that one stopped, my friend. Yeah, wing change. No, it's mediums. Yeah, it's medium.
I didn't get a wing change. It definitely looked like it on my screen, but no wing change for Krypton.
It's the lower front wing, I think, that's giving it away, and we think that it's obviously front wing changes. Axel also into the pit lane as well. Firefox into the pit lane. They're all going to go medium compound tyres. However, though... Oh, he has! Now, 13 laps on
the end. Yeah. I can safely say that he is just trying to possibly attempt a fastest lap attempt, which would keep on the streak of no driver has taken 2 fastest laps yet in the PSGL F2. No team has taken 2 fastest laps either in PSGL F2 this season. Tomasetto is all over the back of Frankie. He is like an annoying housefly at the back of Frankie. The Alfa Romeo is stuck in a blue car sandwich really here, because he can't get past Knuth and he isn't being overtaken by Tomasetto. It's frustrating times for all these guys, because if you're running close to other cars, it's not helping your fuel economy, it's not helping your tyre wear, it's not helping your mentality.
Oh, look at Tomasetto.
Look at that run he's got her. We gotta go side by side here through 130 or not close enough. It could be a send into the Casio triangle. Inside or outside for Tomasetto. Oh. No, he just backs off, and nobody's willing to take a risk into the Casio triangle. Probably the correct decision to make, but Tomasetto has lost the exit there, and he may find himself stuck behind for another lap. Nikosas and Nando both saying, right, used to carry on your merry way, we're going to pit for some fresh tyres.
Yeah, in fact, I think the majority are in. Black Box is obviously in as well. Johan, CC Brain, I think, are coming past the straight, so they're not coming in the pit lane just yet. Firefox obviously on a set of softs. But everyone now going on and committing to that set of medium compound tyres. It was going to be one-sub strategy all the way. Mediums, though, this is a yellow flag in sector 2, and that is Firefox round. Yeah, Firefox round at the spoon curve. Luckily, no damage. He's just got trigger happy, I think, on the throttle. Krypton, however, look at where he's came out. Krypton has got ahead of now Black Box Axe. He was already ahead of them, I think, anyways. But Krypton to the S section is good.
Tires, though, the others do. They're going to lose even more time because they have to heat the tires. And it doesn't take too long around Suzuki. You can kind of get them up to temperature by about turn 8. But
Axe tries to go around the outside of the centre S section. Sorry to cut you off, Evan. That was going to be absolutely marvellous if he pulled that one off. Axe trying to go around the outside of the S section. Black Box there stays in 12th and has just become the thorn in Axe's side.
I think that was a bit of a bold move by Axe, but of course that's another example. He has the tyres heated up, Black Box doesn't. Black Box will have them up to temperature now, but Axe is all over the back of him, and really the Haasman could try a lunge somewhere. Looks like Black Box is up to speed now, so Axe's chance might have just gone as our leader is into the pits, and this should be coming out in front. As no, Frankie carries on here, so here we go. Bit of a battle on our hands. If a safety car comes out now, Frankie is not in a half bad spot. But Ricky into the pits, goes for the mediums. He'll come out in the lead of this race.
I'm just gonna throw a wild prediction now. I think Frankie's gonna go set of softs. I think he's got the pace now.
He could do.
I think he's got the pace, yeah. Rocker's second.
Rocker is actually in front of Ricky. So that's an interesting one as Krypton sets the fastest lap of the race as CC Brain and Johan into the pits.
Nicolsos on the back of Tomasetto. Tomasetto just out in the exit of the pit lane. And look at this. Nicolsos going to try and go up the inside of turn number 3. This is not going to work. Please back off. Coming through the S section. Might go for the Axe move around the outside of turn 5. Doesn't get the move done. Nando's right on the back of this as well. Much fresher tyres. Tomasetto's literally hanging on for grim life here with Nicolsos and Nando. But now, when they get through the Dector section, pretty much tyres up the temperature, and Tomasetto then can try and fight back, and then gain the time on Nuth, who's gained 1.5 seconds at the pit stops.
There, Tomasetto is just absolutely begging for the tyres to heat up. He's just praying for dear life that those heat up, and they have, and it's worked. And now he needs to push on. He needs to catch up to Newt here as Frankie heading through 130R. He's actually 4/10 up on his PB, so it's a huge push. No battery even left in the Alfa Romeo. He's giving it absolutely socks on this in-lap and pulls into the pits here. Softs are not going to make the end from this point, so he's going to have to go for the medium compound tyres and just hope Ricky's had a poor outlap. But I think he's played a game of loss here because I think Ricky's still going to be well in front.
Yeah, it's going to be about 5 seconds maybe coming out the pit lane. I think it's about a 20-21 second pit stop around here in Japan. And Frankie, obviously, there's a Rocker coming down the straight. So Rocker is maybe going to go for that sort of soft compound tyres. And look, there's Ricky, there's Frankie. And do you know what? He might even be eaten up by the pack. Yeah, Nuth coming out the pit lane. Oh, sorry, coming down the straight. Out of the pit lane comes Frankie. This is the worst spot to be, though, for Nuth. He's in behind Frankie on cold tyres. And he can't really do anything about it because there's an S section in the way. So he has to sit and wait behind.
You're going to have someone around the outside here if you're going to want the spot, because Frankie seemed to have better pace than Newt this evening, and he's ahead now, and the tyres are going to come up to temperature. Of course, you weave to get the tyres warm, and it's left, right through the S's, so it really helps heat the tyres. It's going to be Frankie ahead of Newt, although there is the drag reduction system to give us a little bit of help here. Newt could send one on Frankie if he wanted to, but it's 4.3 seconds is the cap up the front, as Ricky's even going to get DRS from a rocket here. Could a rocket maybe just try give us a bit of an interesting race and hold up Ricky? I don't think he's going to sacrifice Haas's Grand Prix just to hold up the leading McLaren.
Knowing a Rocker, though, anything is possible, to be honest. And I think he might, Ricky there in second. I think he's going to get the move done, though. This is going to be absolutely simple. Coming up the 130R, a Rocker pulls off all the way to the right-hand side. Yeah, Ricky through, and he's into the lead of the race. And now, a Rocker, what he can do is come in the pit lane or decide to hold up the pack and behind. And if he holds up the pack and behind, they're already 5.5 seconds down pretty much on Ricky. A Rocker, I think, though, is going to take the bold decision and come straight into the pit lane here. No, he continues on. So Rocker, I think, maybe is now hanging on with the coattails of Ricky. Frankie there third, Nuth fourth, Tomasetto there in fifth. Tomasetto closing in on Nuth down in towards turn number 1. But not going to get quite close enough. Oh, and he gets into the back of him.
Oh, Newt's round. Newt has gone round for Alpine, and it's all gone wrong for Newt. He was on for his best result.
Nicolsos sweeps through. Yeah, Nicholson sweeps through as well. He's into fourth. Nuth absolutely tapped on the rear end. Tomasetto was too late on the brakes coming through turn number 1. Tried to get the speed down, pretty much feathering coming through turn number 2. That's why he hit the back. He just couldn't get the car stopped in time. Might go down as a racing incident, might be a 5-second penalty. He has escaped the scene, obviously, there, Tomasetto as well. And Nuth all the way down in 9th position, and he's around 5 seconds behind Tomasetto at this stage as well. That was unfortunate. It's the only real incident, I think, apart from, obviously, what we saw with the Rocco and CC Brain a little bit earlier on. That's the only real bit of contact I think we've had in this race. Otherwise, who would have said it? Japan could be race of the season.
Yeah, it certainly could be, and the gap up the front. Oh no, never mind. Is there? I was gonna say the gap up the front is down to 2 seconds, but it's actually just increased it to 2 seconds. It's still
Frankie has caught
4.6-ish. It's come out a little bit as Frankie is stretching his legs. That incident has only but helped him because now he's no car behind and he can just push to the end. As if Araka does want to go for the soft tyres, he's still going to have to soldier on for another couple of laps. Is he going to pull into the pits? Yeah, he's going for softs. He's soldiering on for another couple of laps, just hoping for maybe a safety car. As Nando all out of shape through turn 18. Brilliant catch by the Alpine man. He's just hooked the steering in and got it catched there perfectly, but he's lost a lot of time, and thankfully Krypton wasn't close enough. But Krypton running in this train now. Krypton could have get himself involved here, and Krypton could be on for some good points.
Yeah, he has got a 5-second penalty though, has Krypton, obviously, for speeding into the pit lane, and that is obviously going to come back to bite him, of course, on the rear end. Krypton there in 7th, obviously doing a really good job out on track. Nando there in 6th, obviously, as you mentioned, had that spin coming out pretty much of the Casio Triangle section through turn number 18, and Nando now...
Here.
Yeah, he is back on the charge.
Yeah, no, Nikosos has. He's gained a lot of time on Frankie. The gap was about 3/10 larger than that to the Casio Triangle due to that incident, and Frankie's obviously going to be held up a little bit by Araka here, the FPR man and the TF man, two teams that are not very happy with each other these days. We're not going to get into that in the stream, but just know Araka might not lift as much into 130
yeah,
as he did for Ricky. We'll see here though, as I think straight line speed is going to prevail anyways for Frankie, but Araka's going to make it difficult. No, he does lift, so just lifting through. So thanks, Araka, you've made me look like a right idiot, but Nikosos is charging down as well, as Frankie still was held up a slight touch because Nikosos is gaining, and he will get the DRS on this straight, as there Araka's dived into the pits, so he won't be held up. He will still get the DRS, so win-win for those guys.
Yeah, win-win for those guys. Potentially going to stay out another lap though, because Axe is in the second queue. And then if he let everyone else through, he could have potentially held up now up and Nuth, and then Axe could have gained a bit more positions. Who knows what could have happened if that was the case. But he is in for set of soft compounded tyres, and he is coming out of the pit lane now. He's going to be down in 14th position because Firefox is on the other side of the track pretty much. Down there, coming through the spoon curve. It just hasn't been his day for Firefox, ending up like Windows 7, I think, at this stage in terms of his pace. In terms of... That's terrible. I will just take that one back. But yeah, Ricky leads the way, Frankie in second, Nicholson's there in third, and we'll map 20 out of 27.
20 out of 27. It's been a surprisingly clean Grand Prix, this one. I think this could be a commentator's curse, but the win is just 100% decided. I think Frankie's podium is almost decided as well, because Nikosos he's gaining, but look at that battery, 3%. He's not going to do much with that one, as Tomasetto is all over his back as well. Tomasetto much better on the battery front, as we're all running in unison pretty much here on in the DRS trains. Nuth was trying to make a move on Narwarp. Of course, he wants to get back up to where his teammate Nando is, and even Nando's falling out of DRS slowly on Tomasetto. So Tomasetto and Nikosos could be the real scrap here for a third spot.
Yeah, definitely. So Tomasetto looks like he's got Nikosos maybe in his back pocket, even down in towards turn number 1. But I have a feeling it's all going to kick off. Final 3 laps, I think, it is going to kick off. Normally happens the case in Japan. And Tomasetto again, closing up in towards Nikosos, in towards turn number 1, but doesn't get the move done obviously there. He's not close enough to try and go for a lunge even. Araka is about 8 seconds off the back of CC Brain and Johan. They're still having their own private battle for 12th and 13th now. Firefox is pretty much now on for the wooden spoon as long as he finishes, I think, the race. He'll be on for the wooden spoon at the back of the field. But Ricky, 4.1 seconds. Frankie has gained around 2 or 3 tenths a lap. The lap pressure tyres obviously coming into play. 6.5 laps though, Evan, to close in by 4 seconds. I think it's impossible.
Look, you could do 50 million maths equations, and not one of them is going to tell you that somebody other than Ricky wins this race. It would have to be a factor out of anybody's control for him to lose this one. Well, possibly a safety car where he misses the pits or something like that. Maybe a sudden downpour. That would be really it. As the real battle in this one is going to be for third place, fourth place, fifth place, because Nando's still keeping in there just about. There's going to be scraps between Narwarp and Newt and AXA and Black Box, and I think you're right, James. I think this is going to start kicking off really close to the end of the race. 2 or 3 laps out could be the deciders. We're getting close to that point, though. It's been a fairly quick race. It's been an interesting one. Of course, Ricky has just led from the front all Grand Prix. There's been little incidents. Of course, there was that incident with Newt, which saw him drop out of a possible first PSGL F2 podium. But other than that, it's been an interesting one. There's been a few moves here and there. There was that impressive move by Nicosos and Firefox into turn number 1, which is one of the moves of the season for me. It was just beautiful, beautiful overtake as Tomasetto, though, could look to recreate that on the man who did it, as he's really clawing in through the S's.
He is, but Nicosos looks stronger through the S's. He's gained a 10th there. Rock just bangs in the fastest lap of the race. Because why not? He's 2 seconds actually caught on Cecil Brennan and Johan there. So he might latch onto the back of that queue before the end of the race. It might be still impossibly 6.5 seconds in behind. Frankie, though, again, 3.8 seconds. And I think Ricky just made a mistake there. Coming through the Degners, that was 4.2 seconds. It's now down to 3.7. Frankie made a mistake, I think, early on coming into the hairpin as well. So obviously getting a little bit trigger happy, I think, on the throttle. And Ricky just lost time there.
Ricky did make a mistake for the Degners, just to clarify. I was having a little look. He ran a little bit wide, and he's lost a bunch of time there. A quick fact about the Degners: it's named after Ernst Degner, which I think I'm saying right. Some of the Germans will correct me. He was the 1962 125cc motorcycle champion, but he actually crashed at that corner. He rode for Honda's biggest rivals, Suzuki, but they named the corner after him nevertheless, and that's the history of that corner, which you didn't really need to know, but now you do, and that's where Ricky made his mistake, one of the most famous corners on this circuit, and he's running quite low on ERS, as there is a mistake in Sector 1 for Firefox there.
Yeah, Firefox spun, I think, coming through the centre S's. However, Newt on the back of Now, recovering well. Now trying to drag him onto the back of Krypton, who's in a bit of no man's land. Black Box, though, on the back of Axe, he's looking quite close as well, down in towards turn number 1. Nothing, though, happening in terms of any battles. Coming through turn number 1, now up again. Just being pressurised by Newt, losing a bit of time, losing around 5 or 6 tenths, actually, in that straight. Down in towards turn number 1, of course. And now up there in 7th, doing a good job. Frankie, though, has lost a bit of time now. Ricky's begun to up the pace once again. Doesn't really need to up the pace, to be honest, because he's got this one in his back pocket in safekeeping. And to be honest now, with, as I said last week, with Ray obviously gone, it was the first opportunity I think we all saw last week for Ricky to really produce what he's actually made of. Once again, here in Japan, proving that he dominates F2 now that Ray is gone. Is he also going to be promoted to F1? Can you see the same volition of him being promoted to F1? Because Ricky and Ray are quite similar, I think, in terms of the pace.
Look, if he keeps driving the way he is, he could go home, pop the kettle on, and have a cup of tea and 2 digestive biscuits, and he'd still win this one by a landslide. He really is quicker than the field here, and I think he should go straight up to F1 after this one. It'll be really unfortunate to lose another title rival, because it'll just be a case of, alright, who's next to get promoted then? But look, 4.3 seconds isn't... It's not pulled for no reason. He's been really quick. He's just pumped in his PB of the race at 30.7, which is 2 tenths quicker than the race lap record set by Sir Lewis Hamilton in 2019. And of course, almost every race you do beat the lap record, as Tomasetto about a 10.5 behind Nicosos. He wasn't able to make the move into turn number 1 on this occasion, but this is the real scrap here between possibly 2 title rivals. If Ricky does get promoted, it'd be unfortunate for Ricky to get promoted because he's on for an easy championship as it's standing, although I don't think he would see it as unfortunate, as, well, he gets to drive in PSGL's Premier Class on PS, which you can tune into in 2 minutes time. Ladies and gentlemen, you can join Jess Games and Aidan Carter for the F1 tier, also around Suzuka.
And it's just getting going, because I can see the GTMA advert being played on the stream as well. I might have F1 on the right-hand side of me. This is F2, though, still. Ricky still leads the way.
James, concentrate.
4.5 seconds, the gap pretty much now between Ricky and Frankie there in second. Only 3.5 laps to go. Nicosos in third, Tomasetto in fourth. Not really settled, I think, for third downwards. If Frankie makes a mistake, and he makes a mistake that costs him 8-9 tenths of a second. Nicolas, Tomasetto, and Nando are all back in this for potential P2 if, and only if, Frankie obviously makes that mistake out on track.
Look, you're asking for a lot there, James. You're asking for a lot. I don't think he's going to make that sort of mistake.
You never know. This is Formula One.
Yeah, it's Murray Walker who said it. It was, well, if anything can happen in Formula One, it usually does. Of course, Murray Walker, a few famous lines here around Suzuka. I have to stop with a lump in my throat. This is a fantastic one when Prost and Senna, of course, decide to plough into each other for who knows what time. Nando is on the back of Tomasetto, and Nando almost sending one. Nando is not shy of an overtake. He is not shy of hitting the side of the car, possibly with his overtake, and he's almost sent one on Tomasetto, but couldn't quite get it done. And that time, yellow flag through, or just under Degner number 2, under the bridge. It is Firefox who's gone round, and Firefox may unfortunately go a lap down here.
Yeah, we're not going to get a safety car at this point either, which is unfortunate. I think Firefox honestly needs maybe 2 or 3 safety cars to even get back in this race, one would imagine, but we're not going to get that. This is only 2.5 laps away from the end of the race. Frankie, though, beginning to lose maybe a little bit of time on those tyres. Nicolas, 1.3 seconds, has started to gain. Frankie there, though, in second, is doing a good job. And Nicolas, I think, realises that Frankie's now starting to go a little bit slower in front of him. He's just opened up the taps there in terms of the battery. He's only got 5% battery, and he has been at that for around about the last 5 laps or so. But Nicolas now senses that he can get back within slipstream range. Gets back in slipstream range, drags Tomasetto and Nando along with him. Well, game on for P2.
What was the car's phrase? Was it McQueen's fading fast? Frankie's fading fast, although he's managing it a bit more than Lightning McQueen certainly did, as there was 1.1 seconds between them, and I cannot believe I've just made a Lightning McQueen reference in this race, but you do something new every day. Firefox retires from the race, the only retirement. I so thought we were going to get to the end without a retirement for the first time this season, but Firefox unfortunately gives up in the pits, and well, fair play to him for carrying on for this long, because he was miles down and there was no chance of getting back in this one. Of course, no chance of a safety car. Now the chance is gone, and just look at Nicolas pushing his McLaren to the absolute limit. 9 wins for McLaren around Suzuka. It's if you counted PSGL 2 and Formula 1 records, it would be certainly 10 now, but Nicolas wants a 1-2 for McLaren. He is charging.
Yeah, pretty much within a second as well. Firefox obviously is coming back out on track, I think. Oh, his car has actually stopped on the pit lane exit, which is very, very strange indeed. Ricky, though, leading the way. Frankie in second, and Nicolas there in third. Yeah, it's back in, which is really good. Man just retired in the pit box potentially there, and I was a little bit blind. But Ricky leads the way, Frankie in second, Nicolas there in third. Nicolas now not over and done with in terms of P2. P1, you pretty much now nailed on a coffin, I think, with Ricky going to be winning this race when. Frankie there in second, Nicolas there in third. All comes down to the final lap of the race. I think everything that was going to get going further down the field, because now up Knuth, Axel, Blackbox and Ron are all going to have a big set 2, I think, further down the field. Frankie, though, is trying to desperately get him out of slipstream range, and do you know what? He's 8.5 tenths away. That is enough to be out of slipstream range around this track, but the final 5.8 kilometres to go. Ricky leads the way, Frankie in second, Nicolas in third. Knuth once again, they're right on the back, and now up further down the field, 7th and 8th position. Onto the final lap we go, and Nicolas is not close enough to get Frankie in towards turn 1.
No, and he's run out of battery as well. They've all ran out of battery. Newt, though, he's on the charge. He's got to go for Narwarp here. Newt on his redemption arc. It's going to be a fairly simple move into turn number 1. But who else can make a move here? Newt has gone past Narwarp. Can actually go past Narwarp as well. Possibly. Could he send one up into that hairpin? The Jana Watmere move, as it's infamously known now. But Newt is back up to 7th, and Newt will get 6th because of that penalty for Krypton. Krypton's run really well here in 6th. It's such a shame he's a penalty, because he would be on for a brilliant result. Narwarp is going to try keep with Newt here, though, because he's saving his battery. He's going to dispatch it all down this run towards 130R, as Nicolas has not got close enough, unfortunately, unless there is a mistake from Frankie. Frankie should take home 2nd position in this Japanese Grand Prix. Further down the field, though, Ron is on the back of this train now as well. Ron just wants to sneak into the points. He wants somebody to make a send and to get himself back up into the points. He finished 10th last week. He's high up in the championship, but only finished 10th, and he's on course to finish 11th here, as Ricky is heading down towards the Casio Triangle for the final time. There's battles all around the field. It's going to be a right run down towards the Casio Triangle for all these guys.
It is indeed. There's yellow flag in Sector 2, and that's Easy Brain that is round, I think, coming out of the hairpin. Ricky, though, has dominated this race in Japan. Round the final corner, onto the line. Ricky extends his championship lead beyond sight and wins here in Japan. Frankie there, coming across the line to finish in second. Nicole's there in third. Thomas Escher in fourth. Great race from them all. Nando there in fifth. Tripton there is going to finish in sixth. Just where is he going to be? I think he's going to be ahead of Black Box and Axe potentially in terms of the potential drop down. He's behind actually Axe and ahead of Black Box, which is where I was expecting them. Ron there in 11th misses out on the point. Johan in 12th, CC Brain in 13th, and a rocker now to come around the final couple of corners. It's CC Brain first, though. He's there in 13th. A rocker just going around for the sake of it, I think, down in 14th position. He's done a good job. Not his race today. He'll come back better than ever, of course, and I think he might treat us to maybe a little donut across the line. Nice 360. I'd give that a 1 out of 10 from a rocker. But a rocker across the line, obviously, to finish in P14. And that is your Japanese Grand Prix for round 5 of the championship. Drive of the day won by the in-game fans is a rocker. How? He finished 14th. What?
He finished it's not like he finished 14th out of 20. He was 14th out of 15. Oh well, you know what? It was like that period in 2017 where Max Verstappen got driver of the day about 20 times in a row. I feel it's one of those cases, but here is the podium now. Ricky on top once again, and we could be losing another guy to F1, folks.
We could be indeed. I can't see the podium at this moment in time. Hopefully it might just take a little while to load up on my screen. If not, then you might have to run through the final grid order, if that's okay. Oh, here we go. Now the podium interviews, the podium celebration is now coming up, and of course that is Ricky at the top step of the podium. Very good job, of course. McLaren won 3 as well. Nicole's, of course, securing that third position. Frankie in between them, sandwiched in between them both there in second. He drove a relatively good race as well. Nobody was stopping Ricky here tonight. Are we going to be losing him to F1? You'll have to find out, of course, next week. As, of course, we go through our change calendar, which we'll take you through in just a while. However, though, we are now going to see the full grid order, hopefully coming up on your screen very soon indeed. If I just press X like that, we will see it, and it's Ricky that wins the race from Frankie there in second. Nicole's there in third. How on earth it didn't give drive the day to either of them two, I think, in terms of position gains, is beyond me. Thomas Escher there in fourth. Nando there in 5th, Newt there in 6th, now up in 7th, Axe there in 8th, Krypton in 9th, Black Box ran off the top 10, picking up points. I know he'll come back better than this next week, definitely. Ron in 11th, Johan there in 12th, CC Brain in 13th, a rocker who lost 7 positions, got in-game driver of the day, finished in 14th, and Firefox, who lost 10 positions in the end, of course, finished 3 laps down as a late retirement, and he was down at the back of the field there in 15th, and the only retirement out of the race. That ends us off, though, in terms of the Japanese Grand Prix tonight. Shall we attempt to try and get the top 3 in?
I don't think we will, because unfortunately we've had we've had these guys in the top 3 already this season. It's another podium for each of them, as that brings us up to 10 podium. No, it doesn't bring us up to 10 podium sitters. I don't know where I'm getting that fact from. That's another league, but yeah, it was an interesting race around Suzuka. It was a really short one. No, normally do you get qualifying and the race in almost under an hour. With 7 minutes past 8, we started 1 hour and 7 minutes ago, heading into qualifying, and yeah, it was a really quick one. There was no safety cars, no virtual safety cars, nothing really. The only retirement was in the pits for Firefox, but yeah, Ricky, championship is well and truly extended now, and could we get the Tom Robbo situation that we had last season? Well, we'll have to wait and see.
We will have to wait and see indeed. Just looking through, I'm trying to find the F2 chat and see if people want to have...
Kosas has already said that he can't do interviews, which is unfortunate.
I will have a... Oh, you're messaging, which is good. That saves me. We can run through, though, while we wait to see if anybody does want an interview. To the changed calendar, and the big change, of course, to the calendar, you might have seen it on the PSGL Discord. If you haven't, and you've been living under a rock for recent days, it is, of course, the Abu Dhabi change. Now, I'm really unsure what is actually up with Abu Dhabi. Apparently, there's a big glitch or something that is there. And therefore, we have removed Abu Dhabi off both PC calendar and off our regular calendar, of course, on the PlayStation. And that means we get an Italian double header in the next 2 weeks. And that, of course, is Monza for round 6 and then we're back in Imola for round 7. And I've got to say, Imola over Abu Dhabi any day of the week.
I would agree, but I have better news. We're going to get Frankie in for a post-race interview, folks, as he's going to join us shortly. But yeah, Imola's a brilliant track. I love Imola. I love watching racing around Imola. Probably not the best for overtaking, but the history surrounding Imola is unbelievable. My fact book on Imola, you'll be amazed, folks. There'll be so many pointless facts that you will not be able to resist. But yeah, no idea why Abu Dhabi's been taken off, but we still have a great replacement. We still have many great races left in this season and lots for you to look forward to. I'm going to try and get Frankie in here now and
Yep,
see, can he join us?
that'll be perfect if you can. Ricky can't join, which is unfortunate, which is totally fine. Obviously, we're not expecting these guys to join the interview. It'd be nice to hear from at least one of them, of course. Saudi Arabia has also been added into the calendar for round 9 of the championship. I think Brazil has been moved round to round 8 as well. Saudi Arabia for round 9. Then the United States in Austin, and then back at Silverstone, back home for the final round of the championship, of course, which is really good indeed. But quickly, Evan, before obviously we get before we get Frankie in for an interview, Saudi Arabia, round 9, after the break week, that potentially could be a hell on earth sort of race.
That could be a hell on earth sort of race, but I absolutely love Saudi Arabia as a racing track. I love driving it more than commentating on it. But look, if you put a really high speed circuit with close walls and drivers this quick and this close, we could be in for an absolutely crazy Monday evening. And yeah, it could be an exciting one. We could see a first time winner. We could see anybody really, because Saudi Arabia is completely different to anything else on the F1 calendar.
Yeah,
and gonna try and get Frankie in now. We'll see, can he join us? As Ricky says, he'll promise to try and make an interview by the end of the season. Ricky, well, that's if you're still with us here on F2 by the end of the season. But Ricky takes his second win, his 5th pole and his 5th podium here in PSGL F2 this season. Unbelievable form.
Yeah, really good form indeed. And I think obviously since Ray's obviously left at F1, it has really become, I think, an absolute focal point, I think, for him to obviously get into the racing. I just need to go into the waiting room. Actually, do you think
I'm
it'll be
going to
better?
do it now. I have it here. If we're ready to bring Frankie in.
I'm ready to bring Frankie in.
Yeah, I'll bring Frankie in now, and we'll get him in for an interview to hear his thoughts. Gonna drag him in now.
Perfect. So hopefully Frankie will be able to hear us now. And Frankie, are you here first and foremost?
Yeah, hello.
Hello. P2 obviously out on track tonight. Very good performance from you. Didn't have the pace though to catch Ricky.
No, he was very, very fast today. I don't know why isn't he in F1?
We're saying exactly the same thing in commentary. Why isn't he in F1? I think obviously in terms of his pace, he was just so much better, obviously, than you tonight. But in turn, you finished in P2, and I think you were gaining time actually out of the pit stops, if I'm not mistaken, on him.
Yeah, a little bit. My pace was great, to be honest, but his pace was a little bit better. So
his pace was a little bit better, and yeah, you were gaining about, as I say, I think I was putting it like 2 or 3 tenths per lap, and you were gaining, and then I think you might have made a mistake at the Degner section on one of the laps.
Yeah, the last few laps I was really under pressure. So yeah, that was the case.
It's still a P2 finish though.
If Ricky,
yeah,
go on.
Very happy.
If Ricky does get promoted to F1, you are leading the Drivers' Championship. How does that one feel? Do you think he could take the title if Ricky does get promoted?
Yeah, let's go for that. Let's focus. The championship is long, so
I like it. I like the ambition. Obviously, next week, as we've been going on the stream there as well, we go to Monza next week, which I know is a fabled track, of course, for Talent Factory. How do you think you're going to get on around there?
Yeah, I love Monza. I think I'm very quick there. So let's hope for another good result there.
Potentially so. It'll be very good to see you once again on the podium and joining for another interview, hopefully as well. Go and enjoy your evening, Frankie.
Sorry?
I'm saying, go on. What were you saying?
Yeah, let's do that. That's the plan. So
that is the plan indeed. Hopefully that is going to be the case. Go and enjoy your evening.
Yeah, thanks. Have a
Thank you
good
for
evening.
joining us, and good luck for next week.
Thank you, thank you.
Indeed, good luck for next week. And that was Frankie, of course. Really good to hear him. I've actually never heard him in a party before, so that was the first and foremost, I think, for both of us there, which is really good. And good to get an interview, of course, on the channel as well, on the stream to end off. But that is the end for tonight, unfortunately. I know we could waffle on for goodness knows until the cats come home, to be honest. But we don't. We want to watch F1, of course, and Mr. Luke Etheridge, I know, is in there in the comment section. I've just spied in as well. F1 currently going on. I will give you a live update into F1. Oggiano, Rowan, Tom, currently a top 3. Only 62 people watching. Come on, guys. We need to transfer over to F1, I think, to give them a bit of support. Jess and Aiden, of course, taking to the action there. And a big thank you to my co-commentator extraordinaire, Mr. Evan Dalton, who I know is going to try and get another win in PSGL F11 on Sunday, which hopefully might happen in Monza. And I'll interview you quickly, Evan. Looking forward to Monza in F11?
I have some news for you, James. I have
Oh,
some
you're
news
in
for you, James. I'm
England.
not racing next Sunday, so it
You're in
won't be a win.
England, yeah.
I'm visiting up north.
He's visiting up north. He's not visiting me, luckily. Well, I hope not, unless
Oh,
he's going to
thank
say that
God.
after the end of the stream. You don't want to come up north either, to be honest. Where are you visiting, by the way?
I'll tell you later. I'm not going to reveal my details on the stream. I think that's the last people want to hear. Not only are my facts bad, they're not really going to hear where I'm visiting. As if you are going to join F1, please go ahead and do type something in the chat. Let us know. It's currently a Haas 1-2 in qualifying. Of course, it's Oggiano and Rowan, the TF and VSR. So we could see another TF man on the podium. Of course, if you did listen to us, that was Frankie joining us as yeah, that's all from me. Anyways, it was a great race in Suzuka, and make sure to join us next week.
Yeah, definitely so. Indeed, big thank you, of course, Mr. Evan Dalton, for joining me in the commentary box, and big thank you to everyone tuning in at home as well. We are now going to transfer over, of course, to PSF1, but before we do, we're going to take, well, I was going to say we're going to take an intermission break, of course. Big thank you to our sponsors, our title sponsors, of course, that are GT Omega, and our main sponsor, of course, which is Grid Rival, which I didn't have the video for, which I'll promise to get, of course, next week. Otherwise, I might get a telling off if I don't show Grid Rival later on. But obviously, big thank you to everyone that tuned in. We're going to head off now. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.
This broadcast was brought to you by GT Omega and Grid Rival, proudly supporting PSGL.